Hello class, this is Demetrius Wilson with Human Resource Management. We are now on to Chapter 6. As I said, we'll move through these chapters quite quickly in the 9-week course. Chapter 6 is on compensation and benefits, two things that are very, very important to you as an employee. It's very important to me as well. Learning objective is be able to explain the goals of a compensation plan. There are goals of a compensation plan. Do we want to keep upper management happy? Do we want to keep our employees happy? Do we want to do both? You have to know what your objective is and then strategize towards that objective. So goals of a compensation package. A compensation package includes pay, the money that you receive. Obviously, we don't receive our gross pay, we receive our net pay. Health care, so your benefits that you receive, including things like a flexible spending account. And then other types of benefits, all kind of different things. We'll go further into it, whether it be a 401k, even sick time. Those things are your benefits. It's built into your total compensation package. World at Work certifications in the area of compensation, right? So if you check them out, they have different certifications that you can pick up, especially if you're attempting to be an HR professional. More goals of a compensation plan. A compensation plan should do these things. It should attract new candidates. You should look at the job and say, hey, you know what? I would like to do that. The pay looks good. I'm going to apply. It shouldn't say, I'm going to like to do that. I would like to do that, but the pay is not too great. I'm going to go do something else. Motivate people to stay with the organization. People should say, hey, you know what? I like how much I'm receiving as far as wages go, and I'm going to stay with the organization for some time. Improve morale, motivation, and satisfaction. Well, if people don't like how much they're getting paid, morale will go down, right? If they do, if they like it, they agree with it, they get bonuses, things of that nature, motivation will go up. And satisfaction will go up as well. And a happy employee makes a happy customer, right? We treat them right, they treat the customers right. It all works and it has these intangible benefits that you can't always see. And then you want to reward performance, right? Do you reward performance when people do certain things? You say, hey, you know what, Demetrius, you did a great job on this account. I'm going to give you a one-time bonus. Or do a thing like that's called a desk drop. And I often find that it works better when you do certain things like this by surprise. You say, hey, you did a great job. Here's a $25 gift certificate. High five. No advance warning. More goals of a compensation plan. Appropriate compensation plans also can create better customer service. And how do they create better customer service? Just like I said, by treating the employees better, so that they're happier when they're dealing with the customers. Add to the bottom line is fairly compensated employees, right? So you want to be fairly compensated. You don't want to talk to your buddy at the competitor and he's getting paid twice as much. Obviously, you're going to leave that company and go to the competitor. And provide indirect cost savings. And when I say indirect cost savings, that's about the attitude, right? I pay you well, you're going to treat the customers well, they're going to stay with the company, all is well. Some additional learning objectives: be able to explain the internal and external considerations of a compensation package development. Know how to develop a compensation philosophy, right? So a lot of times people, if you're not in HR, you don't know that much goes into developing the compensation philosophy or developing the path and the pattern that you're going to take in terms of how much you're going to pay individuals in different departments, different positions, and things of that nature. So developing a compensation package. Basic compensation questions to address are these. From the employee's perspective, what is a fair wage? It doesn't matter what you think in the office all the way up top. If the employees don't feel like they're getting a fair wage, then perception is reality. They're not getting a fair wage and they will act accordingly. Number two, are wages too high to achieve financial health in your organization? Well, we know if you're paying the individuals too much and the company is going to go into the poorhouse, then you know what? The people who are getting paid too much, they probably will sacrifice some of that salary to have longevity in their position, because you don't want them to come in one day and say, hey, we're closing the doors because I was being too generous and paying you too much. Do managers and employees know and buy into your compensation policy? If they or philosophy, if they buy into it, then they're going to stick with it. It's going to help your retention. If they don't, then they're going to get on the next good ship lollipop and may not stick with the company. Does the pay scale reflect the importance of various job titles within the organization, right? Are you the vice president of finance and getting paid peanuts or something like that? Does the title match the pay, and does the pay match the title? Companies have to be real cognizant of that, and also be cognizant of if you have two people with like titles, are they receiving the same amount of pay? Basic compensation questions to address. Is your compensation good enough to retain employees? You should hope so, because if it's not good enough to retain employees, then you're going to pay even more money out in order to get new employees, and you're probably not going to retain them either. And it's a very vicious cycle that you don't want to get into. Our state and federal laws being met with your compensation package. Remember, the minimum amount that you could pay individuals, and hopefully not in a position where you even have to, know what minimum wage is. Is your compensation philosophy keeping in line with labor market changes, industry changes, and organizational changes, right? Is it changing with the times and the technology and who's really important? Well, IT is very, very important. I know back in 1912, IT wasn't important because there weren't any, computers around, or at least not in use by the public or by the company. So you have to know what's changing in your industry. You can't have some other, company just paying everybody well, and you're not. All those people are going to jump ship, and they're going to go over there with them. Compensation considerations. You have regional factors. Do I need to pay you more because you live in California? That's something that you have to determine, and a lot of times it is the case, as opposed to somebody else lives in Montana, right? California, it's a higher standard of living. You're gonna have to pay more, yeah, but you'll probably get more money. But I will tell you this: if somebody asks you to relocate, like you're going from California to Texas or Montana or something like that, try and negotiate to where you keep your same salary, because you go out there and you'll be living like a king. Do you have the lower or higher strategy, right? Am I, lowballing people because, the industry's coming to an end, or am I looking to give some of these individuals more salary because of the fact that we need to get the biggest and best talent in-house because this market's going to be around for a while. Pay scales and pay bands, the HR department deals with those, and balance of salary and other rewards, right? It could be not as much salary, but I can give you the potential to get a bonus, right? If you have a potential to get a 20% bonus, then yeah, just because your salary is not as big, you don't worry about that because the bonus is coming. But remember, those bonuses taxed at about 40%. Remember that. So, you got a $10,000 bonus, probably seen about $5,000 of that. And then pay increases. Do you do pay increases throughout the year? Or are they only do an evaluation period? Most companies I've worked for, only during evaluation periods will they give you a pay increase unless it's something that really, really needs to occur. You've been transformational within the department, within the company, and sort of turn things around. Compensation strategies. You have your market compensation policy. That means, hey, we're going to give you what the market says. Market says you make $24 an hour, and that's what we're going to give you. Market plus means, you know what? Market says $24. We're going to give you $26 because we want the best and brightest talents here. And then market minus, the market says $24. We're going to pay you $22 because we can go find somebody else to do it. And that's just how we're rolling today. Reasons for choosing one strategy over another, it depends on internally what's going on within your company. If you're late into the market, or if the market is now dwindled down, then they're probably not going to go with the market plus policy, because you don't need the best and the brightest. You just need somebody to maintain. So some more learning objectives, to be exact, three more. Explain types of job evaluation systems and their uses. Be able to define and discuss the types of pay systems and factors determining the type of pay system used, and know the laws relating to compensation. Type of pay system. So you have your job evaluation system. So the paired comparison, you're going to compare these jobs, and obviously when you compare jobs, then you rank them. Just like, and some people don't like to hear this, just like when they stack rank people. You have 20 individuals on your team, somebody in upper management is going to tell you stack rank those individuals, and they know if they're having layoffs, they know that whoever's at the bottom are the people who aren't going to have a job. Job classification systems, where we classifying these jobs, putting them in different buckets. And the Hay profile method, check that one out in your textbook. That's a proprietary method where they're looking at three different areas of concern to see if they want to pick you as a candidate, or change things in terms of that particular job. Pay system. So you have your pay grade levels, your going rate model. Like I said, the market. This is the going rate, fit model, and other considerations. So all of that is determined by the internally by the individuals that are in charge of of how much people are getting paid and the pay bands, and you have to look and know and understand. So you may get in a situation or a scenario where people get a higher raise than maybe you may think they deserve because they're currently getting paid so low, and for the amount of time that they've been there and for the the scores that they've received on their reviews, they actually need to raise up and increase how much they're going to receive as an associate. So but that's why they have those pay bands in there. And looking at the going rate model, and as a manager and HR manager, a lot of times you hear people come back and say, hey, I feel like I need a raise, but your comeback is always, hey, I need for you to justify why, and then see if that's something that your company even does. Maybe it's something that's not even in policy. Pay theories. So equity theory. People are always going to compare and try and see is what I'm getting paid equitable to what somebody else is getting paid. It's funny, I let this individual go, and she kept a very junky desk, so we're getting all her stuff out her desk and putting it in a box, trying to help her out. And in her desk is somebody else's review. And so I was like, hey, why do you have so and so's review? And she was like, oh, well, we just show them. So obviously, people talk and people. If you're a manager and you're giving everybody reviews and you're giving them raises and things of that nature, merit increases, COLA, cost of living adjustments, and you think that they're not conversating, you're way wrong because they're all talking about it. They're sitting about it around is while you're not, whenever you're not there, they're all talking about it and sharing information. And if somebody tries not to give the information, they're going to grill them every day. Expectancy theory, individuals only going to work as hard as they think that they're going to get paid. Like I'm not going to go in there and go, all to the wall if I don't think it's going to affect or change how much I'm getting paid. Now I feel like if I go in, do a great job, that let the chips fall where they may, I'll get good raises, and so it's worked for me in the past. But maybe some individuals feel like it hasn't worked for them and they need to do something different, or maybe it's just them. And then the reinforcement theory, you talk about the reinforcement theory where it's negative or whether it's positive. If individuals are getting bonuses for things that they're doing, they're going to continue to do those things. If they're continuing doing certain things and they're not getting bonuses for it and they expect those bonuses, then they're not going to do those things any longer. So desirable traits of incentive compensation plans, right? So these are things that are desirable, that they're communicated. You want to communicate, be open and honest, be transparent with people. Attainable but challenging, right? When you talk about what you call SMART goals, which I'm sure you learned in some of your other classes, but they're measurable, but they're also attainable, right? That's the A. They must be attainable and challenging to get there, right? It can't be just some easy goal. Needs to be attainable, needs to be challenging to stretch you to get the best out of you. Easily understandable, needs to be just like a conversation we would have, that nobody has trouble understanding it, and it must be tied to company goals. If it's not tied to the ultimate company goals, then what is the purpose of moving in that direction? You have to also know and be, cognizant of the laws relating to relating to pay, comparable worth, Equal Pay Act, Fair Standards Labor Act, and Federal Unemployment Tax. Right, you have to know and understand and keep with these guidelines. You have to if you have a guy and you have a girl and they do the exact same thing, they have the exact same position title, they were hired at the exact same time, everything's the same except for they're two different individuals, and you're paying the guy more, then that's something that you need to look at. Now, one of the things that may come up is that, well, the guy negotiated for more, and don't get mad, ladies, but this is something that that you typically do see in the workplace, that the guys a lot of times do end up negotiating for more, and the women end up negotiating for less. But some of that can be attached to the fact that when a guy asks for a certain amount of salary in a negotiation, like he's tough, he's firm, he's assertive. If a woman does so, then it's a little bit different, and they're looked at, in not the best manner. So another learning objective, explain the various types of benefits that can be offered to employees, right? Mandated compensation, Social Security, Medicare, unemployment, workers' compensation, and COBRA. And there are situations and scenarios where people don't end up getting unemployment, because they were terminated for certain reasons. But typically when they're laid off, they'll get unemployment in Cobra. Cobra is very, very expensive, and that's why a company I used to work for, they had the bright idea to say, hey, let's come up with individual plans instead of sending them a Cobra notice. Let's go ahead and send them out an individual plan and see if they would like to do that as opposed to getting on Cobra. Voluntary compensation, incentive pay systems, right? I sell 20 widgets and I get $100. Medical insurance, right? You want to look at the type of insurance that you receive. Hopefully it's good. Copays aren't too high. 401k plans, you need to be investing, especially younger individuals. You have to know and understand that that Social Security is not something that you can count on. You need to know and understand 401ks. You need to know and understand IRAs and things of that nature to prepare for retirement, because you don't want to be working for your entire existence. And then paid time off. Paid time off is great, whether it be vacation, whether it be sick time. Some companies put it, were putting it all into one bucket, but typically now a lot of companies have switched, due to certain mandates, to where it's split up, and these are vacation hours, these are your sick hours, and then go from there into your float time and things of that nature. But that's all wrapped into your compensation package, your salary, your benefits, 401k, all of that is all wrapped into one. So that's it for chapter 6. So be sure to watch well, hopefully you did watch the lecture thoroughly. Check out the supplemental videos. Uh, and then you should have a quiz or test after this week, depending upon which class you're in. So that all of that will be on your announcement. So be sure to look forward to that. As always, I hope everyone has a good day and a great week.